This consumer session will come to order. The record will reflect that this is the time and place set before the Public Utilities Commission of Nevada for a consumer session regarding the application of Rio Virgin Telephone Company, DBA Reliance-Connex, for authority to establish its annual revenue requirement for telephone service rates, establish new charges, fees, and rules for telephone customers, establish draw from the Nevada Universal Service Fund, reflect changes in the cost of capital, modify depreciation rates, and for other relief properly related thereto. This matter has been designated by the Commission as docket number 13-06007. The record will reflect that the notice of consumer session was made on July 19th, 2013. The Commission has in its files affidavits of publication regarding the notice of consumer session. Are there any persons present who wish to examine those affidavits or have any concerns related to the notice of this consumer session? Let the record reflect that no one has come forward. The Commission deems this matter has been duly and properly noticed for a consumer session at this time. Appearing for the Commission today is myself, Donald Mulhall. I'm the Utilities Hearing Officer assigned to this case. To my left, we have an attorney from the Commission's Regulatory Operations staff, Mr. Pinu, and to my right, we have representatives from Rio Virgin, and again, you probably know them better as Reliance-Connex. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Pinu briefly to describe who staff is and what their role is in this case.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Pinu, and as Hearing Officer Mulhall said, I am with the Regulatory Operations staff of the Commission. And the job of the Regulatory Operations staff is to balance the interests of ratepayers and the interests of shareholders of the company. So in that role, we have a team of engineers, economists, and accountants that review the request that Reliance-Connex has submitted to the Commission. We evaluate the costs that Reliance-Connex has incurred and the rates that are proposed by the company, and we make recommendations to the hearing officer, who ultimately makes recommendations to the Commission as to whether to grant or grant in part or deny the requests of Rio Virgin. So that is generally the role of staff, is to present an independent viewpoint on the application that was presented by Rio Virgin or Reliance-Connex.
And just for everybody's information, we do have another party that's involved in this case aside from staff and the company. We did have AT&T of Nevada. They intervened in the case, so they're another party in the case. They don't have anybody present here tonight. So now I'll turn it over to Reliance-Connex to give an introduction of who they have here and a brief overview of the case they filed with the Commission.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see some faces in the audience, and we do look forward to hearing from you. As Mr. Labojo indicated, I'm Patrick Rossball. I am the regulatory legal representative for the company. But the real experts are to my right. To my immediate right is Harold Oster, the General Area Manager for Reliance-Connex, and to his right is Brooke Wheeler, the CFO of Reliance-Connex. And I thought I would give just a brief overview of the application. Certainly any of you that have seen it or seen it summarized in any of the notices that were provided, I think you already have a sense for what's in it. I think at a high level there are basically two components to our request. There are other ancillary components to it. But the main requests that we made were certain targeted rate increases, or in some cases rate decreases, and then a request for a draw from the Nevada Universal Service Fund. So I'll describe each of those two categories briefly. So we, as you probably know, it's been a long time since this company has had a rate adjustment. So it's been more than 25 years since this company has adjusted any of its rates. And so, of course, to do that, we have to file this case and request authority to do that from the Commission. So that's what we've done. And of course, costs increase over time. And so it's been a very, very long time since we've reset our rates. So we proposed a few targeted increases to a couple of rates and then a couple of what amount to decreases and a couple of other rates. The main one is a proposed increase from $8.86 to $14 for residential basic service. The second is a proposed increase in the single line business rate from $13.43 to $15. We also proposed elimination of, there's a separate touch tone rate that is applied to certain services. We proposed to eliminate that. And then we proposed to reduce the cost of the rate for direct inward dialing, which is a rate that relates to the telephone numbers that customers acquire. Certainly any of you that are business customers probably know what I mean. We proposed to reduce that rate from $5 to 50 cents per number. So those are the rate increases that we proposed. Staff is certainly at their discretion to propose other rate increases, but we didn't feel like any further rate increases were appropriate. And we hope that, you know, the recommendations from staff will not be to increase our rates beyond what we've proposed. We think it's a pretty limited and reasonable request, and so that's why we proposed it. The other component, as I said, is to establish a draw from the Nevada Universal Service Fund, and just a couple of brief comments about that. The NUSF fund is a fund designed to provide support for companies that serve rural and high-cost areas to keep rates reasonable and to allow the company to fulfill its revenue requirements and continue to provide reliable, high-quality service to its customers. And so, you know, we made that request because it's essential in our view to get that funding so that additional rate increases are not required. And so that's a key component of our filing as well. And certainly staff can make its recommendations on any of these topics, but that's the nature of our request. I should also mention that Mr. Oster, should anyone here have kind of a customer-specific issue, anything about your service you'd like to discuss, any specific issues, you're certainly free to raise them anytime, but if you want to have a discussion offline to address any of those kinds of concerns, Mr. Oster will be available after the session, and he can speak with you and certainly work with you to address any concerns. So I think that's it from the company. I'll hand it back over to Mr. Lamojo. Look forward to your comments.
Thank you. And we do have two representatives also from the Commission's Consumer Complaint Division. We have Ms. Cager over here, and then up at the table when you came in the door was Ms. Hernandez. They're from the Commission's Consumer Complaint Division, and similar to Mr. Oster, if you have consumer issues, they'd be happy to talk with you after the consumer session tonight. Now's the time when we want to hear your comments on the case file before the Commission. If you do want to speak tonight, I'd ask that you fill out one of these cards that Ms. Hernandez had up at the table up front. That way we have a record of who spoke tonight. We also, as you'll probably notice, have a audio recording device up front so that we can record tonight's consumer session for other Commission personnel and the commissioners to review tonight's record if they wish to.